the king of cool. The man who many of us remember for having a voice as smooth as butter.
Excuse me, but you see, back in old Napoli, that's amore.
Devilish good looks, and a personality so relaxed that anyone felt welcome around him. But Martin wasn't always the coolest cat in town, and he too had insecurities to conquer before he arrived at Rat Pack Acclaim. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and today we're revisiting the man who could do it all, the one even Elvis Presley admired, Dean Martin. If you enjoy this deep dive, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Now let's learn a little more about the man, the myth, the Dino. Rags to riches. Dean Martin's birth name was Dino Crosetti, born in a steel mill town of Steubenville, Ohio on June 7, 1917, just a few months after the United States entered World War I. His father was an Italian immigrant and his mother Italian-American, so at home the family spoke Italian. Dino began learning English around 5. Life was generally rough for poorer families during and after the war, even more so when the U.S. passed Prohibition. As a young man, Dino got mixed up in some illegal activity. He delivered bootleg liquor during said Prohibition era and worked blackjack tables in the speakeasies. And if that's not cool enough, he began competing in boxing tournaments as Kid Crochet, and he was pretty good at it. 'Cause of course he was. The contacts he made during this time allowed him to finally step out of the ring and onto the stage. His contacts in the underground world of nightclubs encouraged him to take on the Americanized name of Dean Martin. Dean was inspired by the work of Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra, and Sinatra took a liking to Dean and his early work, which inevitably led to the formation of the now infamous Rat Pack. Friend or foe? Dean Martin first met Jerry Lewis while performing at a club in New York City in '45, and they performed together for the first time the following year in Atlantic City, when Lewis suggested that Martin fill in for his singer.
We had met at the Belmont Plaza because, curiously enough, he was staying at that hotel. That's how we met.
They were so-so at the start, but when they dropped the pre-scripted material and began improvising, the part comedy, part music blend was beginning to make an impact.
You're laughing, you forgot to take your watch off.
Crowds absolutely loved this new duo. Lewis would run around the stage heckling Martin while he was trying to sing. You could tell just from watching them that these two were having the time of their lives. The pair eventually landed a contract for a radio program called The Martin and Lewis Show in '48. And the following year, they adapted it for television, which allowed the duo to move from New York City to Los Angeles. Dean Martin let out a sigh of relief and happily moved to LA. Boy, they were the hottest duo in town, and their wallets were thick. When Lewis and Martin signed with Paramount Pictures, their contract allowed one film outside the studio every year with their own company, York Productions. The first of this venture was At War with the Army, but the recipe wasn't quite right. Their dynamic was more Lewis versus Martin instead of the friendly banter that we came to love.
Double time, understand? Then come back here. I got plans for you.
During this time, they also performed regularly on the Colgate Comedy Hour, and their act continued to improve. They ad-libbed to perfection and often broke out of character, smashing down the fourth wall and becoming nationwide icons in the meantime. Such a dynamic and diverse team. Their fans scaled the gauntlet. And we can't forget 1953's The Caddy, a simple plot told in reverse golf comedy, but the film gave birth to Dean's lovely performance of That's Amore.
Hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Which would become a multi-million seller and one of his signature songs. The tune also appeared in the closing credits of Rear Window and is regarded as the theme song to 1987's Moonstruck. That's love after all. One of the pair's final films was one of their best, Artists and Models in 1955. The pair were roomies and together with neighbor Shirley MacLaine in her second ever film role. It's just a hoot and holler of a good time, but the tension between the duo was mounting and the end was near. The Breakup. They both had issues with the partnership, led by insecurities and frustration. Dean Martin was tired of being boxed into limiting romantic leads. While Lewis's comedic genius shone the brightest, outsiders often credited Jerry with being the brains of the operation.
Wise guy.
And it continually bothered Dean. The final straw came when Look magazine featured the duo, but decided to crop old Dino out of the cover image entirely. Frustration came to a boil as Martin angrily told Lewis that he was nothing to him but a dollar sign. And 10 years after the pair's sparkling debut, the shine had worn off, and the men parted ways and embarked on their own solo careers. According to Lewis, the two didn't speak privately for 20 years, to which Jerry later commented, quote, "The stupidity of that I cannot expound on. The ignorance of that is something I hope I'll always forget." Leave it to fellow Rat Packer Frank Sinatra to secretly coordinate a reunion planned for Lewis's annual Labor Day telethon in 1976. It was a long-awaited embrace that allowed America to breathe a sigh of reconciliation, watching a comedy duo that brought so many of us joy back together once again. The Triple Threat. Dean Martin's solo career soared to new heights. He signed a record deal with Capitol label, took grittier film roles, and joined the infamous Rat Pack. He was, without a doubt, a bona fide triple threat, and he was part of some truly fantastic films, beginning with 1958's The Young Lions, co-starring with Brando and Montgomery Clift. Then it was possibly his best film of all time, playing the drunk dude, quite literally, in Rio Bravo alongside John Wayne and Ricky Nelson. Next, he appeared full Rat Pack in the original Ocean's 11, alongside Frank Sinatra and Angie Dickinson. And we have a terrific deep dive on Angie too, so check that one out next. Martin eventually left Capitol Records to join Frank Sinatra's new Reprise label, and many thought leaving all that success at Capitol was a mistake. But of course, his next few singles were just as successful, with his signature tune, Everybody Loves Somebody.
Everybody loves somebody sometime.
Even knocking the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night off the US top spot in 1964. And how funny is it that neither he nor Sinatra could even read music? Next up for the jack of all trades was The Dean Martin Show, which ran from 1965 to 74. This weekly NBC comedy series won Martin a Golden Globe. Dean's stage presence was often that of a drunk crooner, but his daughter and close friends confidently state that that was all just an act. His glass most of the time simply contained apple juice. He was a true showman, not a drunk. Did you know that Dean had a passion for golf and released a signature line of golf balls in the 70s? He also hosted the Dean Martin Tuscan Open from 72 to 75 on the PGA Golf Tour. Dean Martin's career began winding down in the mid-70s. His final starring role was in 1975's Mr. Rico, and he recorded his final album with Reprise titled Once in a While. Everybody loves somebody sometime. Martin was a big family man. He was married 3 times and had 7 biological children and 1 stepdaughter. When he wasn't working, he spent all his time with them. And several of his children followed Dad's footsteps into showbiz. Tragically, his son, Dean Paul Martin, was killed in a plane crash with the California National Guard in 1987. Martin was overwhelmed with grief.
When this strikes home, that's terrible.
So Sinatra organized a tour to help him cope. It began in '88 but sputtered due to Martin's broken heart. Dean performed his final Vegas show in 1991. He was diagnosed with lung cancer in the fall of '93, and he rejected surgery that could have prolonged his life. He left the public eye in early 1995 and passed away on Christmas Day that same year. Martin never let life beat him down. He got back up and climbed the ladder from peddling bootleg liquor to being one of the most iconic stars of all time. The epitaph on his grave reads, "Everybody loves somebody sometime," a nod to his truly wonderful song. Dean, thank you for the incredible tunes and laughs when we needed them most. So let's toast to Dino. What was your personal favorite movie that he was in? Do you have a favorite song that he crooned? And who out there was lucky enough to see the King of Cool perform live? Let us know in the comments below, and let's remember Dean Martin together. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider clicking that thumbs up icon and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a throwback. From all of us here at Do You Remember, thanks very much for watching.